Let's get this set up. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. Apologies. I'm planning to try and do some shooting after this, and I decided to start putting my makeup on. And let me adjust. Sorry, lighting adjustments. Deal with this. I think that's a bit better. Yes. The problem is the phone. This really does get washed out. Go with that. Yeah, that'll work. So, hey, folks. So this one is going to be, and I'm going to continue to shift stuff around because I'm annoying like that. Welcome to my stream. So yeah, this is going to be a fairly standard AMA. And since I am doing an AMA and basically opening a free-for-all for whatever questions folks want to ask, I am going to adhere a little stronger to you may have to ask your question more than once because I am going to lose track of the questions as they come in. I guarantee it. And pretty much the only thing that's going to guarantee that I see your question is going to be doing it as a super chat. I don't want to sound like I'm holding interactions with me to hostage, but I'm just being realistic on that. So, let's see. Did you hear about Eddie Van Halen? No. Do I want to know? Starting the stream with a growl. I'm afraid to ask what's up with Eddie Van Halen. Eddie died. That's a shame. I'm not really a Van Halen fan, so I don't have a personal connection to that, but obviously he's someone whose music meant a lot to a lot of people. What are your thoughts on Dr. Sleep? I haven't seen it, so I don't have any. How many times have you seen Rocky Horror? I have no idea at this point. I couldn't even guess. Dozens. He was 65. I mean, that's kind of young, broadly speaking, but I feel like by rock star standards, especially coming from the era of rock and roll that was his heyday, I feel like that sounds about right. It wasn't exactly gentle living, I would suspect. How's Tricks? Tricky. I have wanted you to stick with the Jenny Nicholson-esque lighting. I don't watch enough of her stuff to even really fully know what that means. I've seen like a couple of things from her. I just never really dived in all that hard. Favorite Halloween movies, not the franchise, just movies you enjoy around the holiday. See, the thing is, I don't really have that many movies that are like staples of Halloween. For me, Halloween is about cartoon specials. So like the Peanuts Halloween special, the Garfield Halloween special, the Real Ghostbusters episode when Halloween was forever. Those are my Halloween staples as opposed to movies. That's not to say I don't watch spooky movies, but none of them are like traditions, must-dos, the way those things are that I mentioned. Been watching Gotham Season 1. Why did you hate Barbara in Season 1? I'm halfway through the series so far. I'm just questioning her choices. So, okay. Barbara in Season 1, for the first half of Season 1 at the very least, was just the nagging plot device girlfriend. She was there to get in trouble and to drive the plot or force the characters into certain circumstances that, you know, made it so they couldn't do what they needed to get crap done. Like, she was annoying and made very stupid choices. Now, I should be clear, by the time the show was done, Barbara was one of my favorite characters. So, stick with it, but early on, boy, I hated her. I really did. I once played Eddie in a production of Rocky Horror. Have you seen Phantom of Paradise? I'm aware of it. I have not seen it. Do you like the Beatles music? I like it fine. I'm not as enamored with it as a lot of people my age or older are. Which Doctor Who episode has improved the most with your rewatch views? It might be Fires of Pompeii. I never really disliked that episode, but I've come to really appreciate that one a lot more on the rewatch. Favorite film? Favorite film of all time is Ghostbusters. Thoughts on the Monty Python films? Life of Brian's their best work. I stand by that. Have you seen the trailer for the Witches reboot? Yeah. I mean, other than like kind of on some of the CGI, it seemed fine. I don't have that much investment in either the original source material or the previous adaptation, so I'm like, whatever. Disney making a sequel to the Lion King remake. What are your thoughts? I mean, on the one hand, I get it. Because, like, they sunk all this R&D into the tech that went into The Jungle Book and The Lion King. And now that it's been developed and streamlined a bit, they want to keep using it. You know, it's why it's becoming, you know, increasingly common for them to do things like de-age actors in the Marvel movies and whatnot. They've perfected the technology, so they might as well put it to use. So, like, I have a tendency to think they couldn't think of any other way to continue using the tech other than to do a sequel, prequel. I'm hearing mixed things. I don't know, and I don't care for The Lion King. I mean, here's the one thing I'll say. No sequel to the photorealistic, I refuse to call it live action, because it's not. But the one thing that I will say about the photorealistic Lion King, that a sequel would not irritate me as much as the original, because the original, the first one was adapting something that was so tightly done and just doing it all worse. Whereas with the sequel, it's either going to be some kind of adaptation of the later stuff done with Lion King, or more likely maybe a couple of elements for those and then something new. So it's not going to tick me off as like you took a perfectly good story and screwed it up. So I still don't think it'll be necessary, but you know. Do you meditate? No. Do I meditate? I have ADD. I can't. I've tried. I can't. I cannot quiet my brain. That's not how it works. I wondered if Lion King getting a sequel to the remake could also be due to the pandemic, since it's probably the closest thing they can make to live action for the time being. It's hard to say. Like, I would imagine that given the high-end workstations that the animators have to be at, that the social distancing you have to do for your animation team, you can't just stick them all in cubicles right next to each other. I can't imagine that that's that much less difficult than working out a socially distanced movie shoot. I don't know. Funniest Gravity Falls moment for you? Funniest for me? Oh, I don't know. Probably something from Seuss, somewhere along the lines. With the live action binge, have you noticed that the mouse seems to refuse to touch Snow White? I mean, I hadn't taken note of that, but I mean, part of that probably has to do with the fact that if we're being completely honest, Snow White is a incredibly important seminal technical achievement. It's not great. So, and also Snow White is a story that has been retold elsewhere repeatedly. A lot of the Disney things, especially from like Disney Renaissance on, their versions have kind of become, at least in the US, the version that people know and think of. So with things like Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, whereas something like Snow White, I mean, like, the Disney version is important, but just to my thinking about it, I feel like they don't have the same sense of ownership about it. Oh, maybe that's me. Do you watch trans YouTuber Samantha Lux? I am unfamiliar with her, so no. Life of Brian has a better overall story, but Holy Grail is funnier and more quotable. Agree on the first point, politely disagree on the second. Holy Grail's great. Don't get me wrong. I think Life of Brian's funnier. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Do you believe the theory of Dipper Pines being trans in Gravity Falls? I am unfamiliar with that theory, so that's a new one for me. Do you lift weights? No. Honest question now. Do I look like I work out? Because I don't think I do. But also, I know that I don't. So, I don't know. Maybe I look like I work out. I don't. So I wouldn't think that I would, but whatever. Since you have BritBox, have you watched Spitting Image? I haven't. Not familiar with it. Do you watch King of the Hill? No. I saw sporadic episodes here and there, but it never really grabbed me. Worst musical adaptation to film? Mine is Into the Woods. To me, the movie didn't have the impact Into the Woods needed in order to truly understand the point of the story. The reason Into the Woods didn't work is because the entire stage show pivots on the intermission, and movies don't have them, and it means the flow doesn't work. But yes, I agree, that one's very bad. Do you watch Futurama? I mean, I did when it was still on. I've seen all of it. I have a Planet Express sticker on my car. It's on the gas cap, or the little lid for the gas tank. Favorite quote? What, like just in general? I don't know. Don't let the bastards get you down? I don't know. I love it if in your videos from now on you're lifting weights. I would have to get weights first. Like, even for props, I don't have weights in my house. I'd have to, like, do curls with the axe or something. Unless you count running to be working out. I mean, it's exercise, but when I think workout, I think, like, getting on machines and, like, yeah. No. Like, running is exercise, but I don't think of it as working out. What did the Romans ever do for us? Aside from the sanitation, the medicines, the education, the public roads. Do you practice mindfulness? Not consciously. Welcome to the Gym of Geeks. Yeah, right. I think the Gym of Geeks would just be like speed typing to bitch on internet forums. My audio series is finished and uploaded. Congratulations! Happy for you. I think another thing with Snow White is the issue of the non-consensual kiss. Also digging the flannel. Thank you! Like, it's fall. It's flannel season, as far as I'm concerned. TARDIS dumbbells. You find me some and I'll start lifting them. What are your thoughts on Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow? It's fun. It's pretty brainless, but it's fun. Favorite historical period you'd like to travel to? None of them. Because I prefer the romanticized versions that I get in media. I don't think I'd actually want to find out the reality of any particular historical time period. Meditation doesn't have to be concentrating on one single moment. Help my ADHD to let my mind wander to whatever it feels like. I mean, like, I know enough about meditation to know it doesn't have to be completely about clearing your mind, but like, I am calm when moving around. Like, that's just kind of a thing. Ted Danson as the Dream Lord, yay or nay? Interesting pick. Personally, no, but interesting choice. Thoughts on Beetlejuice? Fun movie. Oh, that movie's a lot of fun. Do you believe Doctor Who is underrated or overrated? Neither. I believe it is rated. I have a friend in Rome who's, oh God. I'm not gonna read that all out, Castile, because I don't want to get demonetized. You're not the Messiah, you're a very naughty. Insert pronoun of choice here. Love that. Love that. Are you having fun, Ms. Wicked Wolf? Typing that out. I think that's the second or third time you've done it. I'm not gonna read that out either because I'm not sure I could do it without singing it, and singing on the stream has got me in trouble before. So yeah. Favorite Muppet? Pepe. What are you drinking? Water. I love that this is just a bunch of Monty Python quotes showing up in the stream. This is fun. Batman villains you would want to see done or redone in live action movies. I choose Ivy, but though I like Hardy's version, I wouldn't mind another crack at Bane. Honestly, I don't know, because most of my favorite Batman villains that they haven't done are too low-key for a movie. Like, I love the ventriloquist. I don't know why, but I do. But no version of the ventriloquist works for a film. Like, you couldn't pull that off. And I would say the Penguin, except that, again, the Penguin, and I mean, we're going to be getting a new version of the Penguin, but the Penguin in general, at this point, tends to work better as window dressing, as an element of the world as opposed to a focus. And just because he's at this point largely just a gangster with a gimmick, and not a heck of a lot else, that again feels like the too low key for the movies. Would you rather be tied to a chair and forced to watch The Shining or The Exorcist? I'd rather watch The Exorcist. Should I force my mom to watch Rocky Horror with me again? Not if she doesn't like it, no. Shouldn't force anybody to watch something they don't enjoy. Don't have strong opinions on Muppets, but dislike the connotations of Pepe the most for obvious reasons. Okay. Actor had the best performance in a single story of Doctor Who. Mine is Capaldi in Heaven Sent. I mean, that's right up there. I don't know. Like, I can single out performances that I like, but like, I don't... My brain doesn't rank like best acting in the show. I don't know. I don't categorize the episodes or the performances like that. You can only choose one: Fat Bottom Girls or Who Wants to Live Forever. Probably Fat Bottom Girls. Have you read Rick Riordan stuff? I have not. I've had plenty of people recommend it. I have no idea if or when I'll ever get to it. I've got books I've been commissioned to read that I am trying to get through, and I'm trying to find the time to read. Reading is hard for me. Again, ADD brain. You know, the lengths of stretches that I can sit down and like just read something are not as long as I would like them to be, and so it can take time. Do you think they were mixing up Muppets with Looney Tunes because Pepe Le Pew is definitely questionable? Possibly. Yeah, no, Pepe Le Pew has interest. I was talking about Pepe the King Prawn. So, yeah, that's actually a good point. They might have gotten something mixed up there. I doubt it, but have you listened to any more Big Finish recently? I have not. Have you seen Batman vs. TMNT? No, I'm so far behind on the DC animated stuff. It's starting to get embarrassing. What are your thoughts on Edward Scissorhands? I watched it once. It's well made. Didn't connect with me that hard, though. I'm doing a watch through of all of Terry Gilliam's films. We'll be watching Brazil a bit early, seeing as it's a Christmas film. I forgot that there's a Christmas element to Brazil. Do you watch Epic Rap Battles of History? I've seen a couple. I mean, they're all right. I appreciate what they do, but it wasn't one of those things where I was like, gotta watch all of these. Do you watch Broke Cannon by Davis? I've started to. Yeah, he does good stuff. What would you say the most rewatchable Doctor Who episodes are? Or you watched Midnight for the first time and it was better than I remembered? I find, personally, a lot of the best two-parters to be very rewatchable. So, The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. God, I lost it for a second there. Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. The Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Those sorts of things I find really, really rewatchable. Most of the best two-parters were in Davies' era, now that I'm thinking about it. Do you eat meat? Yeah, I do. I'm not a vegetarian, nor am I a vegan. That's not a political stance. That's just not a road I've gone down. I'm currently sat writing my dissertation, so I'm wondering if you went to university college and what you studied. I went. I didn't finish. I bounced around a couple of majors. Ultimately, I am a failed English major. So, I should not be anybody's model for a higher education. Would you go out as King George III for Halloween? And see, now I'm just kind of picturing, like, after like, on a normal Halloween, because this year is bleh, but on a normal Halloween, I can totally just picture the kids take the candy and they go away, just sort of stepping out onto the porch. You'll be back. Not sure if you heard, there's a new Time Lord Victorious audio with 4 coming soon. Glad they're taking advantage of Time Lord Victorious being a huge event, even if it means money down the drain. See, I haven't been able to keep up with Time Lord Victorious at all, and as it's, like, I keep forgetting how far into it everything is. Like, it's exhausting for me to keep up with these multimedia things. It really is. I burn out very quickly just even trying to parse everything that there is. But, like, if somebody could send me, like, a gift bundle of everything, I'd probably dive right into it. But, like, just trying to sort through that, it saps my my enthusiasm. Why do you hate Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Because Ferris is a little shit. That's why. It is as simple as that. He is an insufferable, entitled prick who just ruins the lives of people around him, never faces consequences for anything he does, and we're supposed to root for him and be happy for him. No! He is a walking embodiment of upper middle class white male privilege, and I hate him. I hate him so much. If they were going to make a Broadway musical about your life, who would you want to play you? I don't know who's currently acting on Broadway these days. And, like, even if you were asking me the movie version of that, I don't know. I'm also narcissistic and with aspirations of acting, so I would go, me. I seem to be the only one who can't stand John Hughes' work. I will stand by The Breakfast Club. I feel like that one actually holds up pretty decently. As far as his things go. And also Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That holds up pretty well also. Most of his other filmography, though, it's not bad, but it's very of its time. You can say, look, Rohan, there are certain things that'll set off my irritation. Did I freeze up, or maybe Jonathan Groff could play you? Do you consider yourself a fan of Sacha Baron Cohen? Not especially. No, I'm not, and like, I'm not a fan of his style and approach because he's basically tricking people, and even sometimes, like, with something like Borat, he is tricking people who make fools of themselves, and a lot of these are people who deserve to be made fool of. I still don't like that. It just doesn't sit... Like, I hate pranks as a general thing, and it's basically an entire approach to filmmaking based around pranking people. And I just don't like that. It doesn't sit right with me. Have you ever listened to Jeff Wayne's musical version of War of the World? Yes! Yes, I have. It's weird. It's very strange. It's interesting, but it's very strange. You say you're not into chick flicks, but you like Legally Blonde, and that's a chick flick. Look, me saying I'm not into a genre, broadly speaking, doesn't mean I don't like any of the films in that genre. I like Love Actually as well. Most people would consider that a chick flick. But by and large, most things you would lump under that heading, I don't like or wouldn't care to see. Are there any movies you disliked when you first saw, but then liked or loved on a rewatch? I'm sure there have been. I'm kind of drawing a blank, though, off the top of my head. Do you plan or have you watched the friggin' Owl House? It goes on Disney Plus the end of this month. Then I will start watching it. It might be slow going because I'm going to try and watch it with my kid. So I'm not going to binge through it all at once. We'll get through it at whatever pace we get through it. What are your thoughts on Gremlins? Second one is better. Significantly. Fight me. Jeff Wayne's War of the World may be strange, but it's amazing to see live. I'll believe that. What are your thoughts on Misery? That's a good movie. Kathy Bates is so good in everything. She's amazing. Love her. Love her so much. I believe that Song of the Sea should be classified as a Halloween film since it's set during Halloween. Is it? I haven't rewatched that one in a while. I missed that. What are your thoughts on the Disney movie Enchanted? It's cute. That's kind of it. It's cute. It's meta. It's fine. Any genre mashups you think there need to be more of? Not off the top of my head. As a teenager, I hated Breakfast Club. I was so mad that I was expected to relate to those characters. Like, I do relate to various characters in that to varying degrees, but I get what you mean. Because that's kind of how I feel about Ferris. So, like, I get where you're coming from on that. I've never seen the Gremlin sequel. Can you summarize it, please? The first one, but better and much, 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 much funnier. What are your thoughts on Annie the musical? I don't know. It's like, in my mind, that's like entry-level musical stuff. And maybe part of that is because, like, it was a musical I was in grade school, so I think of it as, like, little kid sort of stuff. It's hard for me to take seriously. That's not really necessarily reflective of the reality, but that's just my perception of it. Did you pay to see Mulan? I did not. I debated it, and then I saw the reactions and the reviews come out and go, no, I'll wait. Excuse me. Have you seen the stage version of The Breakfast Club? I had a friend play Bender with the subtext of his aggression coming from frustrations of bisexuality. Now, I've actually got a question for you there. Is there a proper stage version? Now, I ask because I've been in a stage version, but what we did was adapt the script, the film script, making like one or two adjustments on a couple of things, because it actually does adapt pretty straight. Is there actually a proper stage adaptation of The Breakfast Club? Because if there is, I wasn't aware of it, despite the fact that I've been in a stage adaptation of The Breakfast Club. I will be curious to see who people think it was that I played. Have you ever encountered snakes in your backyard? Not the backyard I have now, but yes, historically I have. What part did you play in, Annie? No part. I was just in the chorus. I was just an orphan. Any other beloved movies you hate? You mean aside from The Shining? Yeah, probably. Have you seen Tenet? Nope. I'm not going to a movie theater. You nuts? Let's see. Would you watch a Doctor Who anime if one were to be licensed? I mean, out of morbid curiosity, I would, but was it the janitor? No, we had a female janitor, actually. You played Brian. You're saying that so definitively that I'm starting to wonder if I've said that in some previous live stream. I probably have. Yes, I played Brian. Have you ever heard any Gilbert and Sullivan? If you haven't sat around the table at insert US version of Weatherspoon singing Never Mind the Why and Wherefore, you haven't lived. I actually am familiar with Gilbert and Sullivan. When I was in 8th grade, we did Pirates of Penzance. I forget the name of, I think it was Samuel. He's like second in command behind the Pirate King. He has no significant singing parts. That's actually my track record oftentimes for musicals when I was doing plays, in high school and college and beyond. I tended to get the largest part you could have without having a significant solo singing part. First movie you ever saw? Like at all? I don't know. The first movie I was taken to see in the movie theater was the Care Bears movie. That I know. But like first movie even viewing at home, no clue. I have no idea. Are you a fan of The Princess Bride? As you wish. Yes, I am. Have you seen Cobra Kai? I haven't, but I'm going to. So, Liz and I just recently, this past weekend, finished watching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which had been our show that we watch together when we are together. And because we only see each other, every now and then on weekends, we took our sweet time getting there. Carolyn, why are you cringing? What did I do? Oh no. But anyways, we finished up Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and we were debating a number of shows to possibly start watching together after that. We actually landed on Cobra Kai. We haven't started it yet, but that'll probably be next time I see her. We'll start that. Favorite Gilbert and Sullivan song? Mine is I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General. Of information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England, and I quote the facts historical. From Marathon to Waterloo in order, categorical. That one's not copyright, or it shouldn't be, so I should be able to get away with that. I don't know. I just kind of like I Am the Pirate King. I'm a sucker for a piratey song anyway, so, favorite character or figure in Greek mythology? I don't know. Athena's about the only decent of the god characters. The rest of them are all pricks. What are your thoughts on Mrs. Doubtfire? I haven't rewatched it in a long time, so I don't know anymore. My memory of it is on the positive side, but I haven't seen it in a long time. What are your thoughts on 10 Things I Hate About You? Lots of fun. Vera, I hate that character in Princess Bride. Oh, I'm sorry, Carolyn. Oh, I didn't realize. Courtney B. Vance, who plays George in Lovecraft Country, is also incredible as Johnny Cochran in... I lost it. In People vs. O.J. Simpson. Yes, he was. He was phenomenal. What are your thoughts on The Sandlot? Never saw it. I love that I opened this one up to be an AMA, like legitimately you could ask me whatever you want, and it's all still like, have you seen this? Have you seen that? What are your thoughts? It's all still entertainment related. It doesn't matter if I open up the question topics. That's what the questions always end up being. I kind of get an amusement out of that. What are your thoughts on Ghost? I've only seen it once. And it's fine. Like, it was weird seeing as an adult. It's odd to go back and see these staples of the 80s and 90s, and just kind of be like, oh, so that's what everyone was talking about. Favorite depiction of Satan in fiction? I'm actually kind of partial to Peter Stormare in Constantine. He's like, after he's on screen, you feel like you need a shower. Oh, it's great. Thank you, Carowin, for being on top of that. I greatly appreciate it. Is it okay to fetishize actual religious beliefs of past cultures, or is that tacky? I feel like I need to know precisely what you mean by fetishize, because I feel like the way you might be using that word could be several different things, and so I'm not entirely sure what I'd be answering. Broadly speaking, the fetishization of either older or cultures that you are outside of tends to bring more problems than anything else, because usually that tends to happen with a very superficial understanding of what any of that stuff meant or was, or a picking and choosing of certain aspects that really interest you. So it tends to lend itself towards issues in general. The choice of words I did find amusing, though, considering what I might start shooting after this is done. I'll leave it at that. I donate because I love and respect what you do. Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. Let's see. Would any of the Bad Place team count as Satan depictions? No. No. What are your thoughts on An American Werewolf in London and The Howling? Never seen The Howling. American Werewolf at London is fun. I felt like by the time I saw it, I felt like it had been a little over-pumped up, a little overrated. What's the most obscure or underrated fandom you've ever been involved with? I don't know. I'm honestly not too sure. Oh, the Discord. Thank you very much, Carolyn, for that reminder. Back in a quick second, folks. So this is, I suppose, my time to plug the Discord, which is a perk of the Council of Geeks Patreon. It's a perk at a fairly low level, so, just saying. Favorite Studio Ghibli film not by Miyazaki. I haven't seen all that many outside of the ones he's done. I mean, probably Grave of the Fireflies. Man, that's brutal. Can I send you the Book of Deceased? If you want to. Yeah, sure. No promises on when I'll read it. What is your take on studios now holding back on major properties like Bond until next year and leaving cinemas with no major content, though they can be open in many territories and are doing okay business when they have it? It's all well and good to say studios want to wait till the audiences can come back in numbers, but what if in the meantime the theaters are gone? It's really complicated, because the honest truth is, and I hate saying this because I love going to the movies, I love the movie theater experience, but it's my honest opinion that most of these places shouldn't, even in places where they are allowed to be open and operate, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be open right now. And like, I say that as someone like, my local movie theater is open, and I'm glad it hasn't gone out of business, but I'm not going. No, that's a terrible idea with everything going on. And so I don't want to say I take the side of the studio, because part of the reason the studios are holding out is because there's not enough in it for them to drop movies for a limited number of open theaters. And that is a completely selfish, motivated thing. But like, under the circumstances, I don't think those theaters should even be open. I'm sorry, I just don't. And I say that with a weight in my heart, knowing that, well, like the movie theater in the town where Liz lives is shut down, is like out of business, is gone. We walked by it this past weekend and nothing on the marquee, no posters up, lights out, dead. And that bummed the hell out of me. But they still shouldn't be open. I'm sorry, they shouldn't. No worries if the answer is no, but would you take a commission to do a video of yourself reading Harry Potter and the portrait of what looked like a large pile of ash? I don't know what that is. So, I feel like I would have to look into exactly what that is and then say, maybe. Maybe. How does moderating your comment section work? Do you read every comment or do you have help with it? If you have help, how do you share the workload? Do you get noticed when a new comment is posted, even under your old videos? Or do you have to look out for new comments? Is it usually fun to moderate or is it more of a chore? Okay, a lot of questions there. Logistically, the way moderating the comments works, first of all, I'm the only one who does it. Unfortunately, the way that YouTube is set up, for somebody else to have access to the comment moderating full features, I would have to give them access to my entire account, and I'm not going to do that. So it is something that I need to do myself. That said, like, I have a bunch of stuff set up. I have a bunch of things that, a bunch of trigger words or phrases that automatically flag comments to be reviewed. I can have it set up where I get an alert for every comment. I don't have it set up to do that because I get way too many comments to do it. I look at the comment section pretty much every day. I wouldn't say I closely read every single comment, but I probably glance at every comment. And comments on old videos show up the same as comments on new videos, just with the way that YouTube's page for managing that is set up. Are there any more important things in... oh, sorry. There are much more important things in life, but which delayed movie release has you most annoyed about it? I was probably most looking forward to Black Widow. That's probably the one that I was the most... But okay, I'm back from the Discord. Okay, M. Night Shyamalan, good director. If you say yes, what a twist. M. Night Shyamalan... He is a very limited director. Like, I realized that watching The Village, because he's one of those writer-directors who... He does not write natural-sounding dialogue, and the kind of dialogue he writes doesn't come easily to some actors. And what I realized watching The Village was that he's not an actor's director. He doesn't know how to work with them because, like, I was watching Sigourney Weaver say her lines in The Village, and I felt like every single line that she had, the subtext, like, right behind her eyes, she was quietly screaming, "For the love of God, give me some direction. I don't know how to work with this dialogue. I don't know how to read these lines. Help me." And he never did. Or that's the impression I was left with. And having seen more movies from him since then, yeah, I get the sense that some actors click with what it is that he writes and what he does. Like, Bruce Willis seems to know how to work his way around M. Night Shyamalan's work pretty decently. So does Samuel L. Jackson. So does James McAvoy. And it's not a knock on any actor who can't. Like, it's not a weakness to need guidance from a director to wrap your head around a character or dialogue. That doesn't make you a bad actor. But some actors seem to naturally grapple with his dialogue, others don't. George Lucas has the same thing. George Lucas lucked out with his original Star Wars trilogy that he just got a bunch of actors that knew how to read that dialogue. And then the prequels came out and a bunch of people were like, God, this dialogue sucks. And the thing is, the dialogue in the prequels is not really that much worse than the original trilogy. You just had a bunch of actors who didn't know how to work with it. That's the difference. Because you're gorgeous and marry me, maybe. Flattered, Brian, but no. No. How are you so cute? Naturally. She said, covered in makeup and false lashes. Clearly not naturally. What is your favorite movie of all time? Ghostbusters. Would you say the problems with the character of Ferris Bueller stem from him being a Mary Sue? No, I would say they stem from him being an insufferable prick. He has a horrible personality. He's a terrible person. That has nothing to do with being a Mary Sue. He's just terrible. He is an appalling human being. That's not a Mary Sue issue. All right, I got to jump down to the bottom because I was hanging out higher up because I had super chats to get to. But like I said, I'm not trying to catch every single question. So apologies. How to keep deep depression at bay, and with the latest Supreme Court Justice Thomas and Alito on LGBTQ plus rights. I really wish I had an answer for that. I mean, broadly speaking, I am fortunate in that I've never been diagnosed with depression. I don't have it as a condition. I have down days, but I mean, everybody does. As far as how to find hope or light, knowing what some of the existing Supreme Court justices want to do, and knowing the positions that the likely new Supreme Court justice has taken in the past, I don't have a way to fend off depression on that. I don't, because anything that I say that is some form of it'll probably work out and be okay would be a lie. We are in big trouble. And not just for the immediate future, we are in big trouble for a generation. We are probably going to be in big trouble for the remainder of my lifetime. That's the unfortunate reality. That the things that a conservative supermajority in the Supreme Court is liable to do or take away are things that will not be undone for decades. At this point, the hope that I have is that in my daughter's lifetime, things will get better. I have limited hope. This is the worst case scenario that we are looking at right now. Because when the court has the makeup that it's going to have, that means that that conservatives in various positions of power, be it states attorneys generals, be it governors, be it senators, what have you, can orchestrate the challenges to the laws that they want undone. Which, let's also be clear, has already been happening. Key parts of the Voting Rights Act were tossed aside a few years ago. We lost net neutrality, which, strictly speaking, wasn't a court issue, but this is the way things have been headed for a while. With this likely makeup of the court in place, they will challenge Roe v. Wade. They will challenge gay marriage. They will try and put in place new restrictions and clampdowns on transgender rights to try and ensure that trans people do not get any more than what little they currently have. This is a video I might end up making for the Vera Wild channel, but there's an issue of liberal complacency, which we are currently now reaping the consequences of. There is a feeling that I've seen at play for a long time among liberal people, where they feel like, when you have phrases like being on the right side of history, part of the implication of us saying like that means this is the natural progression of time. I mean, it's right, and then it's progressive. We assume that this is the natural evolution of where things will go. And because a lot of liberals, especially white liberals, have a tendency to believe in basically just love will win, like it's some sort of natural result of the ebb and flow of the universe, they tend to think, well, if we just wait, we'll get there. Meanwhile, the conservatives aren't waiting, they're fighting. And they're fighting actively. And too many people on the left side of the aisle are sitting back going, well, they're just wrong. They're just on the wrong side of history. They're trying to fight back the tide. Yes, they are. But they're succeeding because you're not pushing back on what they're doing to fight that. I don't know if part of the problem is that the last major civil rights victory in the U.S., being that of gay marriage, was won with minimal, harsh political action. I say minimal, and I mean that in recent times, because Stonewall was a riot. Gay rights started as a riot. Never forget it. I don't care if this ticks people off to hear it. Sometimes you have to throw a brick, because they're going to deploy a hell of a lot worse than that to clamp us down and other people who have as much rights as we do, or they should, for crying out loud. So we had the gay right to marriage, and that was a huge win, and I don't want to downplay that, but that was one that felt like it was one just because, well, it's going to happen, and it felt like it just did. And there isn't enough emphasis on how much fighting has had to happen for virtually every other major civil rights advancement that has ever happened. The civil rights movements of the 60s, people had to fight. People had to be willing to take billy clubs to the head. People died for that. And I was not taught that. I think back to how I learned about civil rights when I was in school. And it was presented to me as if things were unfair, people marched, things changed, which is so sanitized to the point that it's almost harmful, that I thought that it was just a matter of people marching and drawing attention to it. And that's not what it took. And even before that, women's suffrage, people died for these rights. And the fact that a lot of people seem unprepared to fight back with anything close to the ferocity that the right is fighting to remove these rights from us infuriates me. The right has never stopped fighting because they have to. They know that they are fighting the tide. They know that they are fighting a progression. And because they know it's a fight, they treat it like a fight. Whereas a lot of liberals treat it like an inevitability, which can make us complacent. Which can put us in a place where we get hung up on our own personal morals of, oh, I'm going to vote for Ralph Nader instead of Al Gore because I'm going to vote my conscience. Screw your conscience. I don't care about your conscience. I care about the end result. What is the end result of too many people voting third party for Ralph Nader instead of voting for Al Gore because they didn't like him as an individual? And look, let me be clear. I didn't really like Al Gore. I don't like Joe Biden. I honestly really don't. I have a ton of problems with that guy. I don't like the fact that he's my only other option. Am I going to vote for him? Hell yes! Because I care about the consequences a hell of a lot more than some obscure pie-in-the-sky idea of morality, of holding on to the ideals. We should have better. Yes, we should, but we don't. This is the situation we have. And you can either actively do something about it. I'm sorry if we can't make it perfect, but we can do something to at least stop it from getting worse. And anyone who is unwilling to do that because my personal morals, screw you. Because your personal morals are not a shield for anyone else who is going to be oppressed by what is going on. I don't care if you can sleep at night. I care about people's lives more than I care about your ability to sleep at night. So that became a thing. Welcome to my TED Talk. I say that. I don't think I'd actually be allowed to get that political. In a TED Talk. Oh, okay. There we go. Ever been to Salem, Massachusetts? I have. Actually, I've been to Salem once. I bought a Victorian-style coat and a top hat, and I still have both of them. I actually did a photo shoot in those a couple years ago that I was quite happy with the results of. Have you seen the trailer for Borat 2? No, because I know I don't want to watch the movie, so I don't really care to see the trailer. Okay, since you've seen The People versus OJ, what casting choices did you think were bad? In that show? None. That show was brilliantly cast. Top to bottom. What are your thoughts on Fight Club? Fight Club is a bit of a bizarre creation because it's trying to critique something that it is also itself an example of. And it's one of those things that's really difficult to try and do. American History X suffers from this same problem. Because to try and show the danger of the allure of somebody like Tyler Durden, you have to show how cool he is and how appealing he is. But by depicting how cool and how appealing he is, you run the risk of people actually not realizing you're critiquing that and just saying, wow, that's so cool, which has actually happened with Fight Club. Clearly, there are plenty of people who don't get that Tyler Durden is the bad guy. So, like, it's really hard to try to, like, decide to do that. To go, I'm going to critique the appeal of this dangerous thing. But if you depict it as appealing, which it is, and it can be, and it has an allure, but when you depict that, you risk actually hooking people in to the ideology you're trying to deconstruct. I don't know what the solution is, but it's kind of the fundamental problem at the core of that movie. It's well made, but, like, I don't know, man. Keep the off-the-cuff rants coming. I mean, like, ranter's gonna rant. That's a thing that'll always keep happening. Let's see. There was something that came up. I missed it. That was a bit intense for me, not gonna lie. I can be intense. Vera, my favorite ring mistress. Aw, thank you, Carolyn. Let's see. Should Nerdrotic rename his channel? I don't watch Nerdrotic stuff, so no comment. Like I try very hard not to start beefs with other channels. There are plenty of channels out there that I have big problems with. Some broadly, philosophically, some for very personal reasons. Because I've had people come at me personally before. But I try very hard not to start, feuds between channels. I hate interchannel drama. I hate that there's a cottage industry for it. I've been pulled into that crap a couple of times and don't want it. I would ask you to listen to my audio series, but it could break you. If you want to send a link to my email, I might preview the front end of it and try and get a sense of whether or not I can handle it. And if you want to commission me to do it, I'll power through. But, just no promises. What are your thoughts on Fright Night 1985? Have not seen it. There's a lot of holes in my 80s viewing. Because what you need to realize is I'm an only child. Most people my age who are 80s. Because, yes, technically I was around in the 80s, but I was born in 82. So, I was, a young kid, and most of, 80s culture was, it was too old for me at the time. But the thing is, most people my age who 80s, it's because they had older siblings who filtered that stuff down to them. So if you get somebody my age who's really into 80s music or 80s movies, odds are good that they had older siblings who they were absorbing that vicariously through. I didn't have that, so I've got lots of holes in my 80s. Some people call Classic Who the golden age of Doctor Who. Are we in the Silver Age or the Bronze Age with New Who? I don't know. I feel like you'd have to see. I would actually make the 80s, the entire 80s era of classic. I would call that Silver Age Who, and I'd say we're in the Bronze Age now. Let's see. As a very young person myself, every person of the youngest generation I have met has shown support for LGBTQ+. My school had Pride Day where everyone came in rainbows. You know what? Thank you for that, Rowan. Because it helps me to be reminded that... And, again, we have to be careful not to let this idea become... the young people will sort it out for us, because they won't. But it's true that the younger generations, the ones coming up, and some of whom are, old enough to vote, your Gen Z and folks like that, my daughter's generation, every statistic shows that they are more accepting and more loving. And that does give me hope. I hate that first, there is probably going to be a whole bunch of stuff that happens that they are going to have to undo. They shouldn't have to do that. But there is still some comfort and some hope, knowing the acceptance level among younger generations. So I actually really appreciate you bringing that up. What's your favorite superhero TV show of all time? I don't know. I suppose it probably would be Legends of Tomorrow. I really do get a kick out of that. What are your thoughts on The Karate Kid from 1984? Solid movie. I grew up on that one. I actually like the second one a little better. I don't know how controversial that stance is. Harry Potter and the Portrait of What Looked Like a Large Pile of Ashes, a novel, in quotes, written with AI, and words cannot define it. Oh dear. Oh dear. It's nice to remember Trump lost the election, even if you have to remember he won anyway. I mean, depending on my mood, I can either take comfort or get very bummed out about that. Because, yes, he and people who think like him are not the majority. But they have messed with the system to the point that they have power regardless. So, you know. And that's not even me being like, oh, they rigged the election. I like the system has been designed and has been shifted in a way that gives a disproportionate amount of power to people who are actually not holding the majority beliefs in this country. That is simply reality. The people in power right now do not represent most of this country. Statistically, they just don't. Have you ever seen Snow White, Tale of Terror? I have, actually. I saw that ages ago. But yeah, I did see that. That's a weird movie. What if you met every incarnation of the Doctor in real life? That would be amazing. Sadly impossible now, but that would be amazing. You know what I was saying about working out? Get jacked, shave your head, wear a mask, do a silly voice, go full Bane on your country. They really screwed up Bane. And I don't mean like they screwed up the comic book character. I mean they screwed up their own take on him. Because he has a point. But they have to make him the unambiguous bad guy. So he's also going to blow up the city for no reason other than we need him to clearly be the bad guy. So that our hero whose power is white privilege can beat him up and have it be okay. That was unnecessary. What's something your daughter knew and taught you that you didn't know before? Too many things to count. Every day with that kid. She's amazing. When you say the second Karate Kid, do you mean the sequel or the remake with Jackie Chan? The sequel. Man, Karate Kid Part 2. It's good. I like it. Not to be a pesterer, but here's your reminder for Doctor in Distress. Yeah, I know. Owl House goes on Disney Plus on the 30th. Are you going completely blind, or are you aware of some of the things that have happened? I know about some of the representation that exists in it. I don't know which characters it's for. I don't want to know more than I already know. Yes, H. Bomber Guy pointed that out. Don't think about Wall Street. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Been getting into Hartnell stories lately. I admit to crying last night when I watched Susan's Exit. Dalek Invasion of Earth is a great story in general. I also enjoyed the Aztecs. I think Dalek Invasion of Earth is probably my favorite that I've seen of Hartnell's era. I've gone over how long I usually do this. I'm gonna wrap it up soon, I think. Not a question, but you look gorgeous. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you very much. Favorite classic literature? Treasure Island. Can you review Doctor in Distress? Oh, for God's sake. Now there's a chorus of you telling me to do that. Yeah, I was surprised that Cuba Gooding Jr., Travolta and Schwimmer, and Nathan Lane all delivered in that show. I wasn't surprised because they're all capable of being very good actors, but it was very nice to see everybody on point in that one. Let's see. I love your outfit. It looks like something an Oregonian would wear. No, Vermonter. Similar sensibilities, apparently. Would you ever consider ranking the Buffyverse seasons in a video if you haven't already? I did think about that, but the thing is, most of my Buffy videos didn't perform exceptionally well, so I think I just kind of scrapped it for that reason. Macintosh, yes or no? I mean, I don't use Macs, but that's because it's not what I'm used to, and I'm a creature of habit. What are your thoughts on Dirty Dancing and Footloose? Never saw Footloose. Dirty Dancing is a movie. Vermont, hey, a Bernie person. Yes, we do get to claim credit for Bernie. Did you watch the second American Crime Story series about Gianni Versace? I did not. I didn't get around to it. Russell T Davies originally wanted Hugh Grant as the Ninth Doctor, but he turned it down. How do you think he would have done the role? I'm assuming probably not dissimilar to when... Because didn't he show up in Curse of the Fatal Death? I mean, probably just that, but toned down slightly. Like, I actually like Hugh Grant. I think he's kind of underrated as an actor, but he, like, especially at that point in time, he still had, like, the stammery charm thing. I'm like, man, I'm not sure I'm feeling that. I personally hated that Lorca turned out to be a villain. He should have just been a guy with PTSD. What are your thoughts? You're going to have to forgive me. I'm not entirely sure what that's in reference to. So, what are your thoughts on Christine and Cujo? More 80s movies I never saw. Just wanted to thank you for keeping me company the last few months. It's been very much appreciated during trying times. You're welcome, Quinn. And thank you for watching. And also supporting, because I've had to put your name in my credits, so I appreciate you too. Am I the only person who thought that Gotham's Scarecrow, the first actor, is rather underrated? Like, when you say that, do you mean the kid or his father? Because I feel like that could go either way. You can't hire Johnny Cochran, that'll make you look guilty. Yeah, but you go home. Oh, that really was a good season of television. What effect do you believe that the large number of people that are fighting furiously for LGBT rights right now are having? Anyone who is vocally supporting LGBTQ plus rights has a positive impact. Because those of us who fall under any of those letters, we need to know that people are supporting what we do and who we are and our lives and our existence. And we need to know that we are not the only ones in this fight, because it's very easy to get disheartening and feel like it's you against the world. So anyone lending any degree of support, and visible support especially, is helping in some way. I wasn't going to mention Doctor in Distress this week. I will, however, recommend Doctor Who and Pirates. It's a musical. There's pirates, Evelyn Smythe, and Vincent and the Doctor-esque themes. I'm intrigued. Yeah, these have become a regular part of my schedule, and it's nice to have this to look forward to. Been weird times. This is a super comfortable place. Thanks. Well, and thank you as well. Let's see. Just to know people give a darn about us under the LGBTQ plus community means the world. It really does, Morgan. It really does. Oh, so I guess somebody clarified that Lorca is from Star Trek Discovery. I don't watch Star Trek Discovery. I don't have CBS All Access, which I guess is getting rebranded as Paramount Plus, because Paramount can't have an original idea to save its rear end. Favorite story from each Doctor. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can remember all these. Dalek Invasion of Earth, Tomb of the Cybermen, The Time Warrior, City of Death, Caves of Androzani. I'm going to have to go with a big finish because I don't like any of the TV episodes. So, Holy Terror, Remembrance of the Daleks, Night of the Doctor. War Doctor is going to be Day of the Doctor more or less by default. So, Ninth Doctor is The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. 10th Doctor, I go back and forth on this one. Probably Midnight right now. 11th Doctor is Vincent and the Doctor. 12th Doctor is Heaven Sent. 13th Doctor is Can You Hear Me? There we go. You have a cute laugh. Thank you. You should watch Evil. It recently came to Netflix from CBS for a limited time. I haven't even heard of that. There's so much stuff that keeps popping up on Netflix. Like, here's this new show. I'm like, another one? The hell? Do you people ever sleep? Are there any musicals that you are fond of? My number one favorite is Phantom of the Opera. Oh, yeah, there's plenty. I enjoy Hamilton. I like Phantom. I like Les Mis. I like Rent because I'm a little bit of a theater basic bitch. I suppose the only thing close to a deep cut for me is Next to Normal, which I adore. Oh, that show's so good. How do you call out a transphobe without losing them? I mean, the honest answer is I don't know, because the thing is, I have yet to have really any notable in-person confrontation with a transphobe or somebody espousing transphobic beliefs to my faiths. I think it helps that I'm 6 feet tall and broad-shouldered. I feel like I intimidate people enough that they don't say stuff to my face or where I can hear it. But like the only broad piece of advice I can give is if you're actually genuinely trying to reach out and have a conversation with somebody is what I said in the video about J.K. Rowling that I did a little bit ago, which is don't talk about transphobia in terms of something that the person is. Talk about it in terms of something that they're doing. That something that they said is transphobic. Something that they did is transphobic. Not wagging a finger going, you are a transphobe. Because that is pretty much going to guarantee that they clam up and get defensive. I'm not going to guarantee that they won't get defensive doing it this other way, but there's at least a chance they won't. So, you know, you take what you can. Ian and Barbara or Ben and Polly? I don't know Ben and Polly very well. I haven't really gotten to their stuff. I like Barbara. Ian annoys me. Ian's a bit of a... It's a bit much for me sometimes. Thank you for saying that about the civil rights movement. You're welcome. And thank you for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Have you seen Kinky Boots, movie or musical? I've seen bits of the movie. I want to like it, but like it just isn't hitting. The bits I saw didn't really do much for me. Does it hurt to realize that Rocket Man probably wouldn't have been the same without Kingsman 2? No, it doesn't hurt. I can look at it as the one good thing that came out of Kingsman 2. God, that movie sucked. I really did like Hamilton. However, I personally felt like Hamilton's son's death should have hit a lot harder because I personally felt like he didn't have enough time on stage. I will agree and disagree. I feel like the actual spoilers for Hamilton, and spoilers for history, but the actual event of Philip's death does not hit as hard as it might. But the thing is, I don't think it's designed to. I feel like it's the song that comes after that. The song "It's Quiet Uptown" is where it goes for the emotional gut punch of that. And that, I think, is very effective. So I'm not sure that's a bug so much as the intended experience that, like, you're watching this kid die, and, like, if that could hit harder, that wouldn't be bad. But, like, when they really go for the gut punch, it's the song following. So I don't feel like they necessarily failed. They just chose to put the emotional emphasis at a different point other than his actual death, if you follow me. If they cast you in a Broadway revival of Next to Normal, would you do it? Yes. Yes, I would. I want to play Dan. So much. Who's crazy? The husband or wife? Can't sing any more than that. What are your thoughts on the movie Bohemian Rhapsody? It was decent. I thought it was pretty good. Rocket Man's so much better, though. If I send you a link, there may be a long paragraph explaining some of the faults, just a warning. Fair enough. I don't like it as much as I feel I ought, but I'm always happy to see Nick Frost. I mean, Nick Frost really is. He's like he's a warm mug of cocoa of a human being. Did you know Berman played Raoul in Phantom back in the 90s? I did not know that. I was unaware. I was today years old when I learned that. Thank you. I think this might be the one reason I'm still going. I've been way slower drinking this than I normally am. I'm about to start homeschooling my son until COVID is over with, and I intend to make sure he knows about Stonewall. Yes. Good call. Do you enjoy any webcomics? I used to read Sluggy Freelance back in the day. I am several years behind at this point. Agree with you on the first and second Doctor stories, third Spearhead from Space, fourth Genesis of the Daleks. I really do think Genesis of the Daleks is overrated. It's fine, but it's overrated. Caves of Vendrosani, Revelation of the Daleks. I didn't like Revelation of the Daleks at all. That one really ticked me off. Curse of Fenric. Decent. That was pretty good. Wait, don't spoil history. I'm not caught up. I'm told the Nazis became recurring villains, being brought back in increasingly stupid ways. Yeah. Like, when I tend to think of the fact that like some of the stuff that we're dealing with day to day, especially in the country in which I live, I can't help but think of two things. One, The Good Place. The other, John Mulaney. So The Good Place, Ted Danson's Michael going, and there's Nazis again now for some reason, and then John Mulaney basically expressing the same thing with much greater exasperation. And now there's Nazis again. I don't care for these new Nazis, and you can quote me on that. I do enjoy John Mulaney quite a bit. Why do you think Shaun of the Dead is the weakest of the Cornetto trilogy? I think, well, for two reasons. One, its main core message probably speaks to me the least. And it felt like in terms of theming, it felt like the one that had the most focused in on what would be cool, whereas I felt like the thematic threads became stronger with each one. Now, I personally like Hot Fuzz the best, but you can see how strong the thematic elements and the core themes of the thing got with each one, because World's End, the theming is so great in that movie. It's phenomenal. So I like the progression of that, and I think Shaun of the Dead is the weakest theming. It's not devoid of themes, and it's not absent of decent theming, but certainly in terms of the three, meh. Do you like the Five Doctors? I need to rewatch it. I was one of the first classic era things that I saw, which means I saw it before I had really kind of acclimated to the experience of watching Classic Who. So I owe that one a rewatch. How can I feel affirmations without you liking the same things I do? I suppose you will just have to take comfort and joy in those things unto themselves. Aerosmith or AC/DC? Neither. There is a horse loose in the hospital. I have a friend who's okay, Cade, I don't know why you keep putting up the years of stretches for doctors. I think I missed the context for why you would post that, and you've done it now 3 or 4 times, so I feel like I'm missing something. But anyway, the horse loose in the hospital thing. I have a friend by the name of, I have to put the pause in here. He's a drag king. His name is Mike Oxready, who does a great number that has the bits from Horse Loose in the Hospital interspersed across the Panic at the Disco song High Hopes. It's great. I love Mike. Mike's on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, find him. He's wonderful. What are your thoughts on musical bootlegs? I don't really have any strong ones. Heathers or Mean Girls or both. I've never seen Heathers. Another thing that passed me by. Is it okay to enjoy something that expresses views you're against? Oh, yeah. I love 300. And I do not agree with any of the views of the lead characters and arguably the views that the film itself is espousing. But I love that movie. I own it. I love it. It's great. Read Deceased yet? No, I don't have it. So no. I'm getting like sassy with it. That might be a sign to call it a night. Unpopular opinion: 42 is one of my favorite filler Doctor Who episodes. I also believe Prisoner Zero is a fantastic villain. Okay, I'm glad you take enjoyment from those. It's a what-if scenario where there isn't a gap between 89, 96, and 2005. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would have been an interesting timeline. If they cast you as King George III in Hamilton, would you do it? Yes. They wouldn't, but yes. Did you review Watchmen, the show from 2019? I still haven't seen it. I need to. I really, that one I need to. But no, I haven't reviewed it because I haven't seen it. Can I send DCs to you? If you want to, I've got my P.O. box listed in the description. What did you like? What didn't you like about Revelations of the Daleks? The fact that the Doctor does not participate in the story. He spends the entire thing trying to enter the building where the story happens and shows up at the very end so that Davros can say this is somehow all the Doctor's fault when the Doctor does nothing. Like, it's very typical for the Doctor to stumble onto a story already in progress. I don't remember it ever happening that he actually starts to participate in it that late and have that little impact on what's going on. Ugh. I do need to wrap this up soon. Oof. That was a bit more of a chug than I intended it to be. If I do send it to you, will you send it back? I would kindly request that you include a postage paid return envelope. And then yes. Can you end the video with McCavity? If I remember, we'll see. Water goes down the hatch. Something has to. Any previews for your last Christmas review? It's one of my favorite Capaldi episodes. See, like, here's the thing. I've gotten so far ahead on the Take-Two Doctor Who reviews that, oh, thank you, Channel Pup. I appreciate that. But so, like, I've started watching and shooting my reviews for Series 10. So I shot my review for Last Christmas so long ago, I don't really remember what I said now. It'll be a refresher for me when I edit it, which I need to do this week. Under the Lake Before the Flood floats between spots 2 and 3 on my list of favorites. Where is it for you? I appreciated it more after the rewatch. You'll have to wait for the review on that. What are your thoughts on Shrek 2001? It was an important movie when it happened. Doesn't hold up great. Second one's better. Last Christmas, the Doctor Who episode, or Last Christmas, the rom-com? David and Shaun of the Dead and Carl and Ghost are both characters who I don't think do anything that horrible to deserve the punishment. I mean, yeah, there's conversations to be had there. I used to think you were crazy about Tennant not being the best. The more I rewatch him, the more I see it. Why did you plant the idea in my head? Vera, leave me in ignorant bliss. I'm so sorry that I made you think critically about media you enjoy. I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. What are your thoughts on Ice Age? It'll keep kids occupied for 90 minutes. That's about it. It's kind of sad I bought the Capaldi era box set and still haven't watched it after 3 months. You should. You should. Please forgive me if this is personal. Since you have long hair, do you wrap your hair in a towel? Yeah, usually. At least briefly. And then when I take it out, I just give it a little bit of that to emphasize the waves and the curl. No product in that. That's just what my hair does. So yeah, there we go. I think I'm gonna wrap it. Scrat alone is worth it. Like, Scrat belongs in shorts. He doesn't save the rest of the movie. Okay, but thank you very much for watching. This went, ooh, dang, about a half hour longer than it normally does. And now you flood me with more questions. Getting good with my lightsabers. I'm almost there. Ooh, that's exciting, Donna, and thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I am going to wrap it up for the night. Thank you all for joining me and through sticking around through me trying to keep up with questions and for sitting through probably about 10 minutes of incredibly political material. And for just being with me. Like, it matters. It helps a lot. I really do look forward to these, and I know things got serious there for a bit, but I don't think there's been a time when doing this hasn't given me a little uplift. So thank you, everybody, for coming. I hope you have a great rest of the week. I wish you well. And until next time, McCavity!